My name is Catherine Foley and I'm a senior lecturer in ethnochoreology at the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance, University of Limerick. What is ethnochoreology? Ethnochoreology is the study of all forms of dance or human movement systems in the world. In the Western world, these systems may be categorized into popular, urban, traditional, or theatrical. But in the non-Western world, there may not be a specific word for dance, and hence we look at human movement systems. Ethnochoreology is an interdisciplinary field, and as ethnochoreologists, we draw from disciplines such as dance studies, the humanities, and the social sciences. Since as ethnochoreologists, we look at dance within cultural context, the main and possibly the primary research methodology is fieldwork. And for that reason, we travel to the field to watch people in situ performing their dances. This also means participating in the culture in a role that is acceptable to them. It means recording, it means interviewing, it means taking field notes. And all of these contribute to our research data, for which we will later analyse to write our ethnographic monograph. These dance monographs shed light on dance as meaningful human activity. And for many ethnochoreologists, when we go into the field, we're following the anthropologist Malinowski's dictum, which is to grasp the native's point of view, his relation to life, to realise his vision of his world. As an ethnochoreologist, I'm interested in people, society, culture, and in effect, I'm interested in understanding humanity through the lens of dance. So when I look at people dancing, I'm wondering about what does their dancing tell me about them? What is the knowledge that they need to have to enable them to do this knowledge? And this knowledge is both cognitive and corporeal. I'm interested in finding out about what are the cultural values and possibly the belief systems that are embodied in their dances. And I'm also interested in finding out about the cultural, the ideological, and the philosophical factors that influence their dancing. My own journey into ethnochoreology commenced in the 1980s when I was invited to be a collector of Irish traditional music, song and dance from Muckross House in Killarney, County Kerry. My role was to collect from elderly populations their repertoires in traditional music, song and dance. And over time, my focus became traditional dance, and it was to preserve a declining step dance tradition in North Kerry and to learn from the surviving members of a particular dance practice. And these dancers had learned from the last of the itinerant dancing masters of North Kerry, namely Jeremiah Molyneux. I ended up going to London to do a PhD, and after that I continued to work in the field of step dancing in Ireland, and in particular in North Kerry. I wanted to find out about the history of step dancing in Ireland. I wanted to find out about its development. How did it engage with culture? How did it engage with society? Why was it so important to the people who performed this dance? I therefore researched step dancing from the end of the 18th century to the 21st century. I looked at how culture changed. I looked at colonialism in the 18th century, went up to decolonization at the end of the 19th century and into post-colonialism with river dance. And looking at these, it enabled me to understand the power of dance, how cultural values were embodied in the dance at different points in time, and more importantly, how step dancers were able to engage with and to negotiate cultural values and aesthetics at these particular moments in time. It also illustrated to me the power of step dancing to shape understandings and perceptions of culture and society, and vice versa. My research in step dancing was made available in 2 monographs, but also on a DVD where I was able to perform and dance this research. For the past 20 years, I've been training ethnochoreologists at the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance at the University of Limerick. And these students have come from Ireland and further afield. They've also done field research in Ireland and in other areas around the world. Each of the students looking at diverse dance practices in different cultural contexts. For example, students have looked at Kalari Paya in London. They've looked at hip hop in Limerick. They've looked at Bikram yoga in Los Angeles. They've looked at casino in Cuba. They've looked at sean-nós dancing on the west of Ireland. And equally, they've looked at step dancing in Finland and many, many more. Many of these students have outcomes, and these outcomes have been written academic theses for the most part, but not always. Some of these students have decided to present their research, not just in an academic thesis, but also in a new choreographic work, which looks at themselves sometimes as wonderful performers, where they carry out autoethnography on their own practice, but again, within the context of a wider cultural context or within the context of a culture. Today, I've invited 2 of my current MA Ethnochoreology students to come speak to you about what their research is at the moment.
My name is Morgan Center, and I'm a student in the MA in Ethnochoreology program. My research focuses on Irish set dancing, a form of social dance, and Parkinson's disease, a chronic degenerative neuromuscular condition. My research focuses specifically on what I've termed choreographic strategies for inclusive dance practice. So there's a growing body of scientific literature that examines the outcomes and physiological variables following set dancing programs for individuals with Parkinson's disease. In Ireland, several classes for individuals with Parkinson's disease exist on the community level and often incorporate both local community members and family members of those with Parkinson's disease in the class. The point of interest to me as an ethnochoreology student who studies not only dance, but the social and cultural context that surround the dance, is that these classes function as diverse, inclusive community dance space. In order to accommodate the needs of their students, set dancing teachers are adapting the choreography for set dances, as well as modifying their class structure to make sure that the classes are accessible. These choreographic adaptations, as well as modifications in class structure, are of interest to me and my research. The data that I collect from my fieldwork will be used to write an ethnography of set dancing classes for individuals with Parkinson's disease. It is my hope that this ethnographic case study will serve to enhance our academic understanding of inclusive dance practice, as well as provoke future discussions.
My name is Sonia Graf, and I'm doing the MA in Ethnochoreology at UL. My research focuses on forró, which is a type of Brazilian dance form. It's a couple dance, and has become very internationally well known. Not quite as popular as salsa or tango, but quite similar in some ways. As it's gaining recognition in Europe, I find it really interesting to study how this dance form is creating a sense of community and belonging as a subculture, or as an affinity group within Europe. So my research focuses on 2 case studies, one looking at the forró group in Barcelona and one looking at the forró group in Brussels. I want to understand how this dance form, which is danced in a very close embrace, how it generates a feeling of empathy for the partner, community, and possibly belonging. My methodology is an ethnochoreological methodology, so I'll be doing participant observation, where I'll be dancing with these forró communities. I'll also be interviewing the dancers to understand their felt experience of community and interconnection within the forró group in Europe. I will be doing video and photography of many dance events, both in Barcelona and in Brussels, and hopefully be able to describe the emic experience of the dancers in both of these communities and understand the differences and similarities between the types of values that are inherent in forró within Europe and potentially specifically within these different communities.
The research of ethnochoreologists advance our knowledge in dance, culture and humanity, and it convinces us and reinforces the notion of the importance of dance to our humanity. Ethnochoreologists, once they've finished their training, either go into academia, where they become lecturers in ethnochoreology, or they do applied ethnochoreology in the field, where they do work in health, in education, or community engagement. Some of them work for non-governmental organisations, some of them continue creating new choreographies and performing, and others work in arts development. My name is Catherine Foley. I'm an ethnochoreologist at the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance, University of Limerick. If you have any queries about ethnochoreology, please contact me.